Hello, everyone. I'm John Gonzalez, and welcome to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about fulfilling your dreams and taking it to the next level. Whether it's baseball or life, we all just want to get better as players, coaches, and teammates. Our mantra, life is built on dreams. On today's podcast, Zach, who do we have on the show?
Yes, today we have Grant Wolfram on the show from Hamilton, Michigan. He's a fellow Davenport Panther, now in the Texas Rangers minor league system. It was a very fun conversation with him. Wouldn't you agree, Ty?
Yeah, it was awesome. We learned all about Grant's backstory, about his career, his upbringing, his humble beginnings. It was a really good one, and it's all coming up now on
Big League Dreaming, the podcast.
As long as I live, always, I'm Big League Dreaming.
I never got to bat in the major leagues. I'd have liked to have that chance, just once. To stare down a big league pitcher. Make him think you know something he doesn't. Chance to squint at a sky so blue that it hurts your eyes just to look at. To feel the tingle in your arm as you connect with the ball. To run the bases, stretch a double into a triple, and flop face first. Wrap your arms around the bag. That's my wish reconciliation.
Well, like we said, we're pretty excited to be here today. And it's, like we said, episode 2, season 2 of Big League Dreaming, the podcast. Zach, thanks for lining up this next interview. We got Zach with us. Of course, I'm the dad, John Gonzalez. And Zach is son number 1, or I should say the oldest son. He's the OG of the boys. Ty is son number 2, the middle one, but you know, he does a lot of production for us, has his own YouTube channel, YouTube show with his wife, Katie. And then son number 3 is Zane. And Zane is actually a coach still. He's the youngest one, and he's out in Iowa. They just wrapped up a game out there against, I don't remember who they played, but they lost. I know that. It wasn't fun. They got 2 games coming up on Sunday, so hopefully they can come back with a couple more wins. So anyway, we have a special guest today that Zach has lined up. Zach, who'd you line up for Big League Dreaming, the podcast, for us today?
Yeah, really excited to have Grant Wolfram with us today. He's a fellow Davenport alum, just like myself, both pitchers. He's a lot younger than me, so more recent, but he was lucky enough to be drafted out of Davenport. So all of us Panthers are very excited whenever we get a guy drafted out of a D2 school. It's a big deal. So we like to keep tabs on how our guys are doing and stuff. So Grant, really appreciated taking the time to chat with us for a little while.
Yeah, appreciate you having me there.
Grant, I know that you're there in minor league camp right now, or spring training, getting ready for the season. How are things going for you so far in 2022? A little different start than last year.
Yeah, it's a lot different, but it's going well for me. I got out here in January. I actually drove out here, me and my fiance. So I just kind of wanted to get ahead and get out of the cold weather in Michigan and kind of just getting some good weather, throw the ball outside. And I've been out here since the 9th of January. So it's been going good. My first outing was a little rough. Second outing, I had a good bounce back. And then today I went to the big league spring training game as like an extra. And if they needed me to come in relief, then I would have filled the gap there. But I ended up throwing a bullpen at the end of the game, which was still a cool experience, still awesome. Bunch of fans there. Actually, some people from Grand Rapids. I never met them, but they're like, "Hey, we looked you up. You went to Davenport," and I was like, "Yeah." And they're like flashing their Michigan shirts on, so that was pretty cool. But
that's great. You're with the Texas Rangers. I think we might have said that earlier. If we didn't, just a reminder, you were drafted in 2018. So
yep.
You've been through it here. I know that Zach has a lot of questions for you, Ty, as well. But let's talk about that real quick. Being drafted the second time. I know you were drafted in high school in 2015 when you were at Hamilton High School. You drafted in the 17th round by the Tigers. You decide not to take the offer there and go to Central Michigan to start your career, and then you transfer to Davenport a year later. A lot is, and then COVID. Then you get the COVID year in here. How are you feeling about your chances and kind of where things are going for you?
Yeah, I feel really good about my chances still. I started all last year in High A. Had a pretty good season. I was rolling, the strikeout numbers were up, and I ended up catching COVID at the end of the year, which kind of slowed my season down. That's why I had 60 some innings. But yeah, I feel really good moving forward. There's a lot of depth and a lot of good arms with the Rangers right now. A lot of people that you probably aren't big names, but like just being around camp and seeing everyone throwing, it's like there's just a lot of depth and arms and starting pitchers. But yeah, I'm shooting for AA in Frisco, Texas this year. We'll see what happens. If not, go back to High A and Hickory. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited either way.
Yeah, that's great. Hickory's not too far from me. I'm here in Charlotte, Grant. So if you're there, I'll come say hey for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, hopefully you'll be in AA. We'll see what happens. We'll be rooting for you. One of my old coworkers from the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, he's the ops guy there in Frisco. So
okay.
I'll be keeping tabs on you while you're there. Hopefully you're there.
Yeah.
But when I was with Myrtle Beach, we were with the Rangers at the time. That was 2013, before they switched over to the Cubs. And I remember the Rangers, they were just like super focused on development of all the guys. It was like, it was kind of like, we want to win games, of course, but it's like, we want to get these guys graduated to the next level, whether it be bringing in whoever that they could, roaming instructors, things like that, to help guys with anything that they needed. I thought it was really cool. They actually brought in Ivan Rodriguez for a weekend. They had him there in the dugout. So a lot of good things to say about that Rangers minor league organization for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, it's kind of switched the whole thought process since I got drafted in 2018. It was like a lot of like developmental stuff, like developing players, like as you go, like that was getting drilled, like, just kind of figuring out like where you need to improve. And like 2019, it was kind of the same thing, and then 2020, it was COVID. So no one really played as far as minor leagues. They had like the alt site where some guys went. And then this year they spent a bunch of money. So now it's kind of being like, hey, we need to win, like you got to be ready, anyone, you can move up fast. I had one of my friends last year, Nick Snyder, he started in High A and he made it to the show and was, he was throwing 100 miles an hour and he was closing out games and stuff. So it was pretty crazy. He started in High A, went to AA, went to AAA, then made it to the show that year. And I think he debuted in Fenway, which was awesome, but yeah, it goes fast now that they want to win. And if you're performing well and they think you're ready, you're going to move up the ladder quick. So
I see you're sporting the backdrop of the baseball backdrop, not your music stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What question do you have for Grant?
Yeah, Grant, thanks for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. Just one thing that I was thinking about when we were all talking here, this show is like perfect for you because right now you are chasing those big league dreams. So it's a perfect fit. I guess one question I have is going from college to like now into the professional organization in the minor leagues, like what are some things that you've seen in your game like level up, I guess, in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I just think a lot of it's the mental side. I think that, and just like, it's kind of just overall, just it's gotten a lot better just because I've had a lot of information thrown at me as far as like that from like the data side of things with baseball, like my fastball, like when I got there, kind of cut, kind of ran. Now it's pretty true and has good spin and kind of plays well up in the zone. That's kind of where we wanted to settle in on that. And I didn't know any of that, in college, just because we just didn't have all the tools, now it's starting to come out more and more in baseball, but I didn't know any of that stuff as far as like the shape of my pitches. And now I'm like, I added a curveball. I have a gyro slider. They all look different, have different shapes. And I've kind of gone away from my split and started throwing a changeup. The mental side is something I'm still working on. I think that's the biggest part of it now at this point in my career, because you've done it so much, and it's like you're every day you're there. You kind of you got to focus on one thing that you want to get better physically. But I think the mental part is the biggest thing for me, is just trying to find a routine that works for me and kind of gets me locked in the game. Because you have a lot of internal thoughts when you get all this information, thrown at you, and like, oh, you need to throw your slider, 60% of the time behind it counts, or you need to throw your fastball 70% up in the zone, 30% down, like you get all these numbers thrown at you and you start thinking a lot. So being able to find that medium of just like a good mental space when you go out there and compete is the biggest thing for me right now. So
your game is a strikeout pitcher, right? I mean, I look at some of your numbers. I'm like, holy, my eyes popped. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. How come I haven't heard of this guy before? But I mean, is that your kind of thing? Do you see yourself as a reliever, a closer or a starter?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone always says that to me. They always are like, hey, don't you want to be a reliever? And I mean, I'm going to keep just trying to be a starter for as long as I can, I enjoy starting, and I think I can do it. It's just trying to find that consistency. I know I have some higher walk rates than what you'd like to see in a starter, but I think that's just like going back to that mental thing. I know like that's kind of my command is my issue, but I think it's a lot of it has to do is just my mental, where I'm at mentally in the game, not getting too far ahead, not thinking too far, just taking a pitch at a time and just attack, I think if I can find that consistency there mentally, I think in the long run, I'll stay a starter. So.
Yeah, so who are some of like your big mentors right now in the game, kind of where you're at? Maybe not like back in the day, but like people that you're taking things from. Who has some big influence on you right now?
Right now there's two guys that I've been consistently talking to, like the spring training. Brett Martin, he's a big leaguer. He's a relief pitcher with the Rangers. I think he's either third or fourth year. But I've sat down, talked to him. He's been texting me just back and forth. He had some struggles when he went to AA, and he just kind of wants to share like what he went through and how he got through it. And he's kind of just giving me some advice on what to do, which, I mean, it helped me my last outing. I went out there and I felt like I had like a clear mental space, and I just went out and pitched rather than just thinking so much, And then Roy Silver, he played back in the day in the minor leagues, but he's like kind of on the just development side of things for the Rangers. And sorry, there's some music. Who is that? Sorry. And he just kind of like sits down and talks to me, and he's just, gets to know me more. And it's nice when you got someone there, because sometimes, pro ball's lonely. You don't have all your buddies back from school and all that stuff. And, you're moving around a lot. You're not playing with the same guys each summer. So it's just nice to have like just someone to talk to that wants to get to know you and like know how you click, like what makes you click, what makes you function. And yeah, I think those two guys have just really helped me the last month, honestly. So
that's great.
Grant, where you're at now versus, where you were here in Michigan, Hamilton, Michigan, not a big town.
Yeah.
And then of course, playing for the Kalamazoo Growlers, playing at Davenport, not, one of the D1 big schools in the South, you look at where you started and where you are today, and how do you feel sometimes when you reflect a little bit on your humble beginnings?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't change it, the route that I had for anything, honestly. All the people that helped me along the way to get to where I'm at right now, I'm just so thankful for. And I mean, there's a lot that I had to learn, just coming from a smaller town and not being exposed to some of the, like, just all the tech and all the different coaching styles and just everything, but yeah, it's cool to look back and see where I've come and how far I've made it. And yeah, I mean, if any other kid, comes from a small town, it's you know, you can do it, you can make it. You just kind of just got to believe in yourself and keep putting in the work every day and not give up, you know? So.
Ty, I know you like to put in the work. I mean, that's your ethic. Do you want to follow up on that at all?
Yeah. So I guess, talking about like work ethic and everything, what would you say has been like one of your best moments and like one of your worst moments, I guess? Like, how do you get through that? Like, how do you push through like a tough outing? Like, how do you stay motivated through that?
It's a good question. It's easy when things are like rolling, you know, and it's like, you know, 2-3 good outings in a row. But the bad ones, it's hard. You just gotta just kind of say, you know what, like the best of the best, you know, like the Verlanders, the Kershaws of the world, they have bad outings, you know, but they have more, like they're more consistent, you know, like when they don't have all their stuff, they still find a way to go, you know, 6-7 innings for their team. I think just being able to just like let go and just almost not care that you had a bad outing and like look at it, but don't let it like affect you like for the next couple of days. You know, you got to be consistent, be the same person, show up, be a good teammate, you know, be a good husband, be a good brother, you know. I think just trying to be the most consistent person you can be day in and day out on the field, off the field is what kind of gets you through that stuff, you know.
Yeah, I like that because it's a lot like life. There's so many ups and downs. So, yep, I like that a lot. You just got to push through the low moments and just get through it.
Yeah, all you can do is just, you know, show up, put the work in, just like you did the day before or when it was going good. You know, you can't just sit and dwell on it and feel bad for yourself. So
definitely.
Well, Zach, what is it like for you being a Davenport Panther and seeing a fellow Panther out there competing?
Oh, it's awesome. We got a couple others out there too. So it's great to keep up with them. I mean, there's so many questions I could ask Grant right now, like about college and things like that. But like I texted you, Dad, we're catching him at a crazy time right now because like yesterday and today, man, your first time in big league spring training, which like it's not the show, right? But like that's something you'll never forget, right? Like,
yeah.
Tell us about how like yesterday and today was for you. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was just kind of cool. I was just, you know, yesterday I was just going through my normal day, and one of the pitching coordinators just like, hey, you want to go as an extra in the big league game tomorrow? And then if you don't go in, just throw a bullpen there. And I was like, heck yeah, you know, like I'd love to. And yeah, just like kind of walking out on the big league spring training field, and you know, it's packed and it's just like a cool vibe, and everyone, you know, it's just fun. It's just different. And I just kind of got goosebumps. And like the first few throws, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to airmail it, you know, because I'm just so amped up, you know, just even playing catch before the game. But yeah, it's just different, you know, it's
motivating too, I'm sure, right?
It just puts things in perspective, you know, like you kind of go through minor league camp and, you know, you're on the backfields and like you're putting in all that work, you know, but then like when you go to a game like that, even if I didn't throw, but like just being there, it puts it in perspective. Like that's what you're working for, you know? And I think was like good for me for today, just kind of like reflecting on that and having that perspective, you know?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Zach. I mean, I know you have more questions. Go for it, man.
Shoot, I mean, a lot of different ways we could go. What was kind of like the getting drafted part like with the Davenport? Like, what was that? You don't have to go too in depth with it, but what was that process like? Were you did you get an agent? How much were you able to talk to people before the draft?
Yeah.
And with it being a smaller school, was that an impact? Like, kind of how'd that work for you?
Yeah. So when I was transferring from Central, I looked at a bunch of like junior colleges and stuff down in Florida and Mississippi and whatnot. And I just didn't find the right fit. And then Tidy, I don't know how it happened, but literally like when I told Central that I wanted to transfer, it was like, I got home. It was a 2-hour drive from Mount Pleasant back home to Hamilton. So I got home, and I'm not even kidding you. I remember I was just like, I told my parents, I just want to like just relax for the next couple of days and not think about like schools where I want to, look at and everything. I just need to just chill and clear my mind. And it was like, all of a sudden I was getting a phone call from a Grand Rapids number. I'm like, hello, who's this? And he's like, this is Kevin Tidy at Davenport. We'd like to come get you on a visit. And I was like, dude, what? Like, how did you hear that I was transferring? I like just, you know what I mean? It was like 2 hours ago. And I think right then it was just kind of like, they just showed a lot of interest. And I talked to some scouts and they said it was a good program, and I just ended up going there. It was like good timing too. The pitching coach at the time, Josh Rebant, he was just like super down to earth guy. Just, he was younger guy, like super willing to like look into anything for you, like change his coaching style. Like he was definitely a player's coach, he would listen to us. If we disagreed with something, he didn't take it the wrong way. And like, it was just a good fit for me. He pushed me. He's actually coaching at Traverse City Pit Spitters now, and I think they've won the Northwoods the last couple of years. So he's doing well over there. But I think just the timing of that, having him as my pitching coach, like started to get my confidence back because I lost a lot when I went to CMU. And then I remember I had that first year there, I had a good sophomore season, put up some good numbers. And then I remember I wanted to play in the Cape Cod. That was always kind of like one of my dreams, playing summer ball. And I just kind of knew that's kind of how all the top players kind of went. That was the route that they went. They played in the Cape, their sophomore year. So I ended up like writing up this big old email about myself and like put in my numbers, like, kind of just like a little hype thing about me in email form. And then I sent it to every single team and heard back from 2, and they said I'd get a tryout. So then I drove out there, it was like 14-hour drive out to the Cape, and I show up and there's like 60 guys trying out, and by then they already had their full roster pretty much because the schools line it up in the fall, so show up for that, and guys were throwing and striking out the side, and they're getting sent home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I gonna get sent home? I have no idea. Just drove 14 hours, and it was my turn to pitch, and they said good job. They sent me home, and then like the week and a half, 2 weeks went by for the tryout part, and me and like 3 other guys ended up making the team, and they gave us a full contract, which was sweet. And then from there, it was just kind of, I was on the radar in high school a little bit, but once I went out there, it was kind of like every team saw me. And then I threw all right. And I think I put up some good numbers, like at least the metrics and stuff. I think they liked what they saw, scouts. And then I got some questionnaires when I went back to Davenport in the fall. So, and then they just followed up and watched me in the spring. So, yeah.
That's a great story. Love to hear stories like that, don't you, Dad?
Oh yeah. I mean, I just like, I'm sitting here thinking, I can just see it all happening, like you're like, you show up and you're like, oh yeah, I got this, and like, everything's like, oh no, I don't, but that's part of why we're doing this podcast is because everyone has a different route to getting into fulfilling their dreams and taking it to the next level. Like we like to say, and for some people, it just seems to happen easily. Others, it just, it's a struggle. It's a story, right? To get to where you want to go. So ultimately, what's your timeline? AA for this year, and then maybe a chance to make it all the way to the show, because it can happen, right? You mentioned your friend earlier that's what happened to him, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, wherever I start, I'm just gonna, just try to have a good start to the season. And, all those decisions of moving up are out of my hands, and I'm just going to just play baseball and pitch the best of my ability. So yeah, we'll see what happens. You never know. They say it happens quick when it happens. So yeah.
All right. Well, tell us really quick here about your game as a pitcher, because I mean, you're what, 6'6", 6'7", left-handed pitcher,
6'8",
right?
Yeah.
big guy. So are you a power pitcher? Where are you hitting? Is your out pitch a cutter? I mean, tell us what's your makeup here?
Yeah, probably. I'd say I'm more of a power pitcher, I would say. I mean, I had a velo spike earlier, but I haven't been back up to. I was in the fall of 2020, like after COVID, we came out to Arizona for instructs, and I think the first pitch I threw was 98. So it just kind of came out of nowhere. I was just like, oh my, like, because my roommate after my outing, he was like, hey, you're throwing like, you hit 98. I was like, come on, like, you're lying, like I've never even hit 95 before that, and all of a sudden, like, for those 2 weeks, I was throwing harder than I ever have. I think I was like 94 to 98 the whole camp. So that was cool. And that was just in like, 1 to 2 inning stints. Haven't been back up to that same velocity, but it's been, sorry, there must be something going on outside. But yeah, I think, I settle in at like 91, 94, touch 95, added a curveball. So I think just playing like up in the zone, a lot of swing and miss, not too many ground balls. I'd say probably swing and miss and fly ball pitchers, kind of where I land. And honestly, like years prior to last, I was just basically a 2-pitch mix, fastball, slider. My slider has been pretty good for me, and they haven't had to change much on it. So yeah, like true, hopefully good 4-pitch mix this year, but right now probably like more 3-pitch mix, 4-seam fastball, curveball, slider. So
all right, Ty, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just after listening to you talk about that velo spike hitting 98, I instantly thought of the movie The Rookie. When Jimmy Morris, like, I hit 98. Well, like, what's some of your favorite baseball movies growing up, or like some of your favorite baseball players?
Oh man, favorite baseball player, definitely Justin Verlander. Just growing up watching him as a Tigers fan. I actually in high school, I had the pre-draft workout at Comerica Park, and I actually got a picture with Justin. So that was cool. He was rehabbing, and like all the scouts and all the people that were there, they're like, no one talked to him. He's rehabbing. He's got to do a throwing program. And I remember my dad's like, yo, you got to ask him, you got to say something to him. And we were just sitting over on the side, and I was about to, go throw my bullpen on the main mound there. And I go, hey, Mr. Verlander, you think you mind taking a picture with me? And I'm like the same height as him, but I'm like, hey, Mr. Verlander, and he was like, yeah, sure thing, man. And I got a picture with him, and he like just told me good luck. So that was cool.
What about the movies?
The movies, man, is it the Rookie of the Year when the kid's like all of a sudden's got like a crazy arm? I like that one. Oh man, Benchwarmers is a classic. For the Love of the Game, yeah. Field of Dreams is good. I like Field of Dreams. There's so many. Hey,
any advice you'd have for kids around, not just in Michigan, but maybe for the northern states where we don't get to be on the field every single day, and any advice for kids?
Yeah, I played a bunch of sports in high school.
I heard you're a heck of a tennis player.
I was all right. No, I think just, when coaches and they always say, specialize in one sport. I was never told that. They always they always told me to just keep playing all sports and just stay athletic and have fun and enjoy it. I think I did that, but I guess on the side, like, during basketball season, like after basketball practice in high school, I'd go and, I had a guy that worked with me and I'd hit in the cage and throw and do some extra stuff, just baseball wise. I think just being willing to, or like, if you want to play at the next level, like you got to want to go and train and get better, even if you're playing another sport. I think just being willing and open and, just having an open mind when people are teaching you stuff, try to grasp like any little thing that someone says and try to apply it to your life is huge, but yeah, I think just being willing to just do a little bit extra, goes a long way,
That was good. Zach, you want to wrap things up for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're ever on a roster with Justin Verlander, they're going to grab that photo and it's going to be everywhere for like a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, I know. That'd be sweet.
But yeah, man, we really appreciate you jumping on for a little bit, hearing kind of your backstory, and we're all going to be rooting for you in the coming weeks here, especially when you get assigned to wherever the Rangers send you. So
yeah,
we'll be following you, and thanks again, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'll try to keep you guys in the loop.
Got it. All right, Ty, you want to tell people where they can get more information if they want to follow the show?
Yeah, if you want to follow the show, thank you so much for watching this or listening to this episode. You can follow us on TikTok at Big League Dreaming. You can also follow us on Twitter at BLD Pod. That is at BLDPOD. And always shoot us an email at bigleaguedreaming@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Take care, everyone.